One of the hardest fighting fish in freshwater is a striped bass. You don't reel them in very easily, and they can be very tasty table fare as well, but they can be very tricky, finicky, and hard to locate. On this week's show, we hope to give you some tips and pointers to help you find them on your favorite reservoir. Glad you're along with us. Striped bass fishing today. Let's Fish TV is on the air right now. That is a fish. Oh man, look at this.
It's time for the only program that brings you real-time fishing reports from the Southeast region every week.
Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. Woo!
This is Let's Fish.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Let's Fish TV. If I asked you to name the top 3 striper fishing lakes in the state of Texas, would you know the answer? Of course, everyone would know the number 1 striper destination. That's Lake Texhoma on the Texas-Oklahoma border. But would you know numbers 2 and 3? Here's your answer in no particular order. Lake Whitney in central Texas and Possum Kingdom Lake in northwest Texas would be the next 2 best lakes. Well, it's that third one that we are coming to you from today. I'd like to welcome you just over my shoulder to beautiful Possum Kingdom Lake. It's a little bit north and west of Mineral Wells, Texas, near the small town of Grayford, and it is loaded with striped bass. We've got a beautiful day today, and we're going to show you some of the migration patterns of stripers, where you can find them not only here, but on your favorite lake that has stripers, and a few tips and techniques that will help you put more of them in the boat. We've already got the boat launched, everything's ready to go, and we've actually got a day with no wind, if you can believe that. I went fishing, and the wind did not blow. While we're out there today, we're going to be taking you around your local region for this week's fishing reports from our expert team of insider reporters from lakes, rivers, and bays right where you live, both saltwater and freshwater. So right now, Big Mercury Pro XS 254 stroke gets cranked up, and we're headed out on Possum Kingdom. Next time you see me, I hope to be tied into a striper. Right now, let's get things started back at the studio and your weekend planner.
Happy Easter weekend, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for yet another episode of Let's Fish. These cylinder tables are predicting excellent game fish activity Saturday and good activity on Sunday. Peak game fish activity begins about midday, around 12:16 on Saturday and 1:16 on Sunday. Nighttime action will begin around midnight on Saturday and 12:51 on Sunday. Depending on your area, expect the sun to rise around 6:56 and set around 7:58. Nights will feature a full moon this weekend. Stay with us as we check out all of the current fishing reports from throughout the area, and I will return with 2014 Bassmaster Angler of the Year, Greg Hackney, on this week's Ask the Pro feature.
There we go. There, I got one. Oh, feels like a good pull. Straight down. Can't even fighting against that rod. There he comes. Decent striper. No monster, but a good way to get it started. There we go. All right, we have made it out today on beautiful Possum Kingdom Lake in Texas. And we're after these, the beautiful striped bass. I love to catch these things. This is not a giant one by any means, but look how fat that fish's belly is. That fish is feeding up on shad right here in the early part of the springtime. Well, that'll get it going. Let's put that back and let's orient you to Possum Kingdom Lake. If you've never been here or seen the lake, it's on the Brazos River system. There are several lakes up and down the Brazos, and most of them have stripers in them. It's a great system to catch stripers. In fact, the best one in Texas. It is the furthest upper lake on the chain. There's Possum Kingdom and Granbury and Whitney and I think Georgetown and Waco and several different dams up and down the system, but this is the furthest one on the upper end. They've been stocking stripers in this lake, in all these lakes, for many years, and it's got a very established population of stripers, but they don't reproduce naturally. They don't spawn. We'll talk more about why that is and what that is. This is a good test tube to demonstrate some techniques on how you can locate stripers and some techniques to catch them where you live. Any lake, reservoir that you've got that has a river system in it, that's got stripers, some of these techniques that we're going to be using today will work. But that gets you set up on Possum Kingdom Lake. We'll try to catch a few more for you and help you catch some on your lake where you live.
Hey folks, it's time for your Carolinas Report. This week brought to you by Crazy Sister Marina. My good friends over at Crazy Sister want to make sure you catch fish, want to make sure you live like a local when you're in town. You know, it's spring, you can come down and enjoy an incredible time here at Murrells Inlet and along the Grand Strand. Visit crazysistermarina.com, book your trip. Let's talk saltwater, let's talk Spanish mackerel. They have showed up in massive numbers. You know, the jetties in Murrells Inlet, the jetties in Little River, the jetties down in Georgetown, the nearshore reefs, you're going to find those wonderful 12 to 16 inch eating and also bait size Spanish mackerel. If you're a big king mackerel fisherman, you want to put those in the freezer for the fall when those big kings show up. But I tell you, getting out with a drone spoon or Clark spoon or anything on a #1 planer, Christmas tree rig works as well. Get out and have a great time on those nearshore reefs. And let's talk about that offshore bite. Water temperature is going to warm up. We're starting to get some calmer days finally. It's been an incredible March. We've had a lot of winds. Finally, we're going to get some calm days. I see the next future forecast for a couple weeks is really good. Look for those eddies. Go to Rolf's report. Go to Fish Track. Make sure you look at that surface temperature. Don't waste all that gas heading out 60 to 70 miles. Make sure you find that chlorophyll, find that warm water, and you're going to find a fish this time of the year, whether it's tuna, wahoo, or dolphin. You can find them doing that. This has been your Carolinas Report. Remember, fish smarter, not harder, and keep your chaos organized.
There he goes. There he goes. Got him. Ooh, that's a good pull. Big pull right there. Digging deep. You want to use a net on stripers because they've got a lot of gill plates and fins that will cut you if you try to handle them too much with your hands. Yeah. Again, no monster, but just a decent fish. All right, there we go. Beautiful striper. Just an average size fish, maybe 5-6 pounds, something like that. There's a lot bigger ones in here. They've been catching them up to 15 pounds or so. Let's talk some about the migration of stripers, not just here in the Brazos River system, but really anywhere that's got a good solid river channel and a feeder river into a reservoir. So we start in the heat of the summertime, and they're all down in the deepest, lowest end of the lake, closer to the dam end of the lake. Then, as the fall hits and the water temperature starts cooling, those fish begin a migration upstream. So you can actually begin to follow them by watching birds and shad and all that. They'll move up the river system until ultimately, right in the middle of the winter, they'll position themselves in the deepest water before you go up the river. That's where you'll find them all winter long. Then when the spring hits and the water really starts warming into, say, the upper 50s or so, maybe around 60, they'll go up the rivers. They think they're going to spawn, but they don't. Stripers are an artificially reproduced fish. They were originally a saltwater fish. They're raised in fisheries, hatcheries, and they're stocked usually a couple of inches long by the hundreds of thousands in lakes all over the southeast, southwest. There are a few lakes where there is a documented spawn. The only one here in Texas that's a documented regular spawn that happens frequently is Lake Texoma, where they'll spawn in the Red River system. But everywhere else, they're a stocked fish. They're a put and take fish. They put them in there for you to catch, and they do grow, and they grow huge. And over in the southeast, there are some lakes that have some just giant stripers in them. Go find them where you live. They're a lot of fun to catch.
Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Mercury. Go boldly. Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder. Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Alabama. Plan or book your fishing charter at orangebeach.com. MotorGuide's Tour Pro with GPS anchor, powered by Passion. Coastline trailers, built by fishermen for fishermen.
Hooked him right in the snoot. There we go. Let me tell you a little trick. He got it. Oh, look at him bow that rod. Man, they are some tough fighting fish. You know, stripers that you catch in the late winter and early springtime are usually fatter fish because they've been eating. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Look at that. Look at that. They've been feeding up on shad all winter long, and they're usually about the fattest they're gonna get in the springtime, and they get skinnier through the summer. So these are all really healthy fish. That's a good one there. Look at that baby. There we go. Oh yeah. Hooked him right in the snoot. There we go. Let me tell you a little trick. I'm teaching you all the things that I'm learning about this sport as we go. You never stop learning. Never stop learning about fishing. Every time you go, you learn something new. So what I'm learning today, I started off this morning and I was using a little smaller bait. In fact, I'll show it to you. I was using a little 2-inch Strike King bait, and I think that's a scissor shad. And I was catching a lot of white bass on it, big white bass, but I was catching whites, no stripers. And so I decided, well, what if I threw a little bit bigger bait and tried to eliminate some of those white bass and tried to really target the stripers, the bigger fish. So that's when I went to this larger style bait. And I'll show all this to you up close a little bit later, but that's about a 6-inch long bait, another Strike King bait. And so I'm just milling around in here and I'm watching for those balls of bait on my electronics. And when I see those balls of bait, I'll just pitch around them a little bit and I'll use that active target to scan around, and I can actually target individual fish. I didn't see that fish on my active target. I just saw a big ball of bait out there, pitched it right out there behind me, let it go down, and he thumped it, took off. Nice big striper. Yeah.
Hey y'all, this is my favorite part of the show, the Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia Coastal Fishing Report. This segment is brought to you by me, Captain Patrick Garmison. My company is Ugly Fishing. You can visit my website at uglyfishing.com. Got links to all of our social media platforms there. Our fishing around here has been ups and downs. We've had an extremely large amount of wind, which is typical for springtime, but we've had a lot of winds out of the westerly direction, which generally muddies up Mobile Bay. Whenever we've been able to get out into the Gulf, we've been able to target sheephead, and that bite's still going on good, but it is on the downward trend now. I would expect that to be pretty much done and over with in the next couple of weeks of April. In Mississippi, Ronnie Daniels with Fisherman Guide Service, he operates in Pash Christian, Mississippi. He said that the water temperatures got up around 70 degrees, and he said the marsh is really starting to heat up with the speckled trout action. He said the shrimp are really not showing up, so he said he's been focusing on long and big points. And he said when you do find the speckled trout, there's a great abundance of them. In the Georgia area, my friend Marion Harkleroad said the water temperature's in the lower 60s. He said many of the speckled trout remain in the deeper bends of the creeks, yet some are already being caught out near the entrance of the Savannah River around the jetties. Keep in mind what my friends from the Speckled Truth saying, that's keep what you need and leave the rest. God bless, guys.
Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Academy Sports and Outdoors, making it easier than ever to gear up and have fun out there. Visit Mississippi. Wanderers welcome. Powerful. Total boat control. Balls Out. Made in the USA. Heavy-duty mounts for your fish finders.
How about that? Beautiful. You can tell the stripers by the straight lines all the way down their sides, unbroken. got it, he's got it, he's got it, he's got it. There we go. I'm watching these fish eat my bait. Well, today I'm using a technique. It's a dead sticking technique is what they call it. It's basically vertical fishing straight down in real deep water. I'm staying right over the river channel. I'm in about 50 feet of water, and the fish are anywhere from 30 to 40 feet down for the most part, and I'm watching them, watching my bait down there, and I'm basically just holding my bait pretty still. Occasionally, if I see a few fish milling around out there, I'll pitch it out there to them. Wow. But for the most part, I'm just dead sticking it. I'm letting that bait sit still in the water, and just the little bit of current in the water, the little bit of movement by the boat is enough to trigger these fish to strike. So that's the technique you use when the water's cold. All through the winter and the early part of the spring, you want to use this dead sticking technique. You want to just drift real slow and let your bait just gently move in the current. Then as that water warms up on in the late spring, summertime, when those fish get a lot more active, you can catch them on a swim bait, a top water. That's a better fish. Look at the size of this one. There we go. A lot of moving baits will catch them once you get on up into the warmer weather months, once that water gets, say, warmer than 65 degrees or so. There we go. How about that? Beautiful. You can tell the stripers by the straight lines all the way down their sides, unbroken. The white bass have broken lines down their sides, and then the hybrids, there will be stripes, but there will be kind of jagged and off-centered a little bit. There'll be a much wider fish. But that is a pure striped bass, raised in a hatchery, stocked when he's about 2 inches long, and he grows this big and bigger. That one's a little better fish. So we're doing better. But using that dead sticking technique, all I'm doing is just kind of holding it out there, dropping it to the level that I see the fish. So you want to have, even if you don't have an active target like I do on this Fishing Specialties pole where I can scan it around and target the fish, if you just use your depth finder and you see where the bait is and where the fish are located, you just drop it to that level and wait until one bites it. Wait till my bobber goes down. There they come. There they come. Got him. There's a big one. Feels good anyway. Let's see if he is. All right. I love the pull of these things, man. They are horses down there. He's got his head down and just digging deep. Digging deep. There he comes up. Not big. Not a big one. Hey, I want to mention something. If you want to come do some of this, I've got a guide contact for you. I'll put it up later. Steve McVeigh will guide you on some of these fish. But if you'd like to stay at the best place on the lake, in my opinion, you want to stay at Lush Resort. It's beautiful, set right on the shoreline of Possum Kingdom Lake. In fact, the room that we stayed in last night has a balcony that perfectly overlooks the lake. They've got a big dock down below. You can come in on the lake and dock your boat there. Great restaurant, top-notch food. 2 pools, one lower level and upper level. Again, beautiful rooms, great accommodations, just everything you would want, and a perfect place to stay right on Possum Kingdom. You can contact Lush Resort. You can come up here and stay where we stay when we come in.
Watch our latest episode or catch up on past episodes on our website at letsfishtv.com. Be sure to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter for new fishing videos every day. And download the free Waypoint TV app to get all the latest episodes every week on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Lose, Feel the Difference, Mamba Boats, Ride with Pride, Strike King, Tie One On, Glacier Glove, stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades, Fishing Specialties, makers of the premier mount assembly for live sonar.
So glad to have you back with us. It is time now for the Ask the Pro question. This week, Mitch would like to know, if you had one do-over in your whole career, what would it be? For an answer, we asked 2014 Bassmaster Angler of the Year, Greg Hackney.
So, probably to me, the biggest mistake that I made in my professional career as a fisherman was to leave the Bassmaster Tournament Trail for a couple years and fish somewhere else. I just missed this. We're here at the Bassmaster Classic this week, and I missed those opportunities at winning the Classic, not being here, and I've really missed that. So that would definitely be the biggest mistake I feel like I've made in my career.
Thanks so much, Greg. If you have a question for one of the pros, all you have to do is visit our website, follow that Ask the Pro link to submit your own question.
Here's today's Right Stuff, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Next up on the Academy Right Stuff, it's the right gear to go catch stripers in a very sporting way like we did on this week's show. It begins with this great spinning rod outfit. This is the Lew's TP 1X Speed Stick. It's the perfect spinning rod for doing this. It's 7 foot, medium action with a medium fast tip, and it's really fun to reel those big stripers in on this rod. Then we've got the reel spooled up with Strike King Tour Grade braided line, got Strike King Tour Grade fluorocarbon leader, 6 feet of it, about 10-pound test on the end, and that's the rod and reel setup that we used. The bait that we used is a Strike King Caffeine Shad. It's kind of a pearl white color. It's rigged on a 3/16 ounce lead jig head, and it was perfect for catching those stripers. I couldn't have done it today without my Lowrance Active Target and my Fishing Specialties pole outfit. This actually puts that active target transducer in the water, lets you rotate it 360 degrees, and it's got the new magnetic breakaway bracket. If you hit a stump or a dock, this will break away. It won't harm anything. You can put it right back in its place, turn these 2 knobs, and everything is good to go again. You can check it out at the Fishing Specialties website you see on your screen. My wife and I once took someone into our home to live with us for a little while. She came from a really bad background, had been in lots of trouble, and just needed a respite, a place to stay, get her head together for a little while. She ultimately chose to leave our home and go back to her bad situation, and I'll never forget what she told me the day she left. She said, "I know I'm going back to a bad situation, but at least it's a known bad, and I know how to deal with it every day." Needless to say, the story did not turn out well. If you find yourself in a bad situation, try to muster enough courage, enough bravery to take one step and change something. Because remember, if nothing changes, nothing changes. I hope you learned a few things today that might help you put more striped bass in your boat the next time you go after them on your favorite reservoir. If you'd like to come here to Possum Kingdom Lake in Northwest Texas and have a chance to catch some of these stripers or these big white bass, you can contact my good friend Steve McVeigh. The contact information you see on your screen, and he'd be happy to put you in the boat with him and bring you out here to catch some of these. We will see you right back here next week. Until then, I'm Barry Stokes saying let's fish, everybody. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.